Hi everyone. You know, I normally talk about my records, but in this case, I want to talk about something completely different. There's a woman coming from America, and what she likes to do is warn people of the dangers of immunization. Oh, yes, it's terrible. It causes autism and everything, apparently. And if you read her Facebook page, apparently it even disconnects you from God, which isn't bad because he doesn't exist anyway, right? So, obviously, I've been immunized. Now, you've got to understand that when I tell you this story, my mum and my dad weren't highly educated. They didn't go to high school. There wasn't television around in the early days, and information didn't get around quite as well as it did, as well as it does today. Yeah, sure, Dad could have read a little bit more, but he kind of went straight into the army after primary school. And he didn't read much anyway. In fact, he could barely spell. My mum was very good at spelling and figures as well. But my dad didn't believe that needles did any good. It's a lot of nonsense. That's how it was. And he didn't believe that there were germs or anything like that. He just thought that they were things that people said, and that was it. He didn't believe in God either, by the way. My mother was quite religious, but I think she had her doubts in a lot of ways. Now, what had happened was I was born, and Mum started getting me immunized. I had a few shots for various different things, although I think I had most of the normal childhood diseases. I remember I had chicken pox. I remember I had measles. So I don't know what she vaccinated me against, but it was something apparently, or maybe I didn't get the full amount or something. Anyway, my father said to Mum one day, "Stop giving him those needles." And my mum said, "All right." It must have been the first time she had listened to him ever. But she said, "Okay." So, little person I was, at about 5 years old, got sick. And Mum called for the doctor. And the doctor came around to our place and checked me out and said, "He's got whooping cough." He said to Mum, "Look, don't worry about it. He's been immunized. It'll only be a little bit of whooping cough and everything will be fine." My mother says, "He hasn't been immunized." What? What do you mean he hasn't? And she looked at my father, who was standing at the bedroom door, and went, "And there's your culprit." Well, it was a 3-month ride we had. It was pretty bad. Now, my sister was 18 when I was born, so she was in her 20s when I got whooping cough. So just to say that she was an adult watching me. My mother didn't expect to get pregnant all those years later. She thought she was over it, but hey, here I am. But here's this little kid who was and they both thought that every breath I took was possibly going to be my last. For 3 months, I coughed, sounding something like a seal. I threw up all the time. My mum was scared to leave me alone in my bedroom, so she took me to bed with her. She kept me close to her, and I don't know how she did this for 3 months, but she was a trooper. And I can remember a story about me throwing up 3 times in the one night and Mum changing the bed 3 times and then not having enough sheets to change the bed a 4th time. It got really bad, and eventually it started to get better, and I started coughing up a lot of green phlegm. Sorry. I know that disgusts a lot of people, but I really want to tell you the story. Yeah, I started to get better after 3 months. And I thought I was going to die. And I can still, at the age I am now at 49, remember little fragments of when I was sick. It was horrific. And basically, if you don't get your kids immunized, you're an asshole. And that's all there is to it. Thank you.